Idaikattur was one of the 18 siddhas, who have been respectively worshipped by the people of Tamil Nadu, as mostly all the siddhas had their nativity at Tamil Nadu. What we are going to see the place, here in this movie clip, had been, once upon the living place of that great siddha, Idaikattur. This place, Idaikattur, is situated in between the national highways of Madurai to Rameshwaram, which took diversion before Manamadurai, approximately 2 km from the national highways, on the bank of the river Vaigai. Idaikattur, who had been mastered at astrology, once upon, adjudged that a severe famine would have come soon, on his living days. After having known this forthcoming famine, he trained his cattle to feed yercum leaves, instead the lush green plants. He also prepared himself, by having applied the paste of the Varaghu grains on the sand walls of his hut. This phenomena made other people to mock at him, that, why he was doing like that. That day of famine entered his living zone, and all the people, and their cattle met their sad demise, except him and his cattle. How could it possible? The answer is here. Yercum leaves have been, not the seasonal plants, which could grow anywhere, at any condition, without the water resources. So his cattle could however manage that worst famine. Then, somebody could think, okay, his cattle were safe, but what about his survival? For that also, we could find the solution, here itself. Due to the intaking of yercum leaves always, the cattle had scrubbed the walls of his hut, due to their itching sensation over the skin of the cattle. By having done the scrubbing on the walls, the Varaghu grains had withered from the walls, as it had been once pasted by Idaikattur, at the time, before the famine could struck his living place. From the withered Varaghu grains, he could also survive, even in that worst famine. The Navagrahas, that are the 9 planets, who were the sole responsible for the adverse effects of that famine, astonished that how could it be possible for Idaikattur and his cattle for their survival. They wanted to know the secret, and they reached his hut. Idaikattur, by having seen the arrival of the 9 planets, became very happy, and received them with warm welcome. Idaikattur had greeted the Navagrahas with what he had, simply with goat milk and Varaghu rice. The different taste, and the yercum effect in the goat milk, made the Navagrahas fell asleep. While having seen the Navagrahas in asleep, a sudden spark had induced Idaikattur's mind, that, due to the current position of the Navagrahas only, there had been severe famine, and suppose, if he could interchange their current status, with what the apt status for the heavy downpour, and good monsoon, definitely, it could solve the problem. Idaikattur also got into action, and changed the sleeping positions of the Navagrahas into a favorable position of heavy downpour, by his astrological mind, and its sudden execution, all ponds and channels were filled with fresh rain water, and the famine had kneeled down before Idaikattur's proficiency in astrology. When the Navagrahas awakened, they could understand what had happened in the meantime of their asleep. They forgave Idaikattur, for what he had done was only focused on the public welfare. They departed with heart full of the memories of Idaikattur's timely execution of astrological knowledge.